What if everything we've believed about the Jackson family is only half the story? What if the stolen cattle operation wasn't the real crime? And what if the biggest villain of Dutton Ranch hasn't even entered the battlefield yet? The brand new trailer for the Season 1 finale, Episode 9, titled El Padrino, is packed with blink and we'll miss it clues, shocking confrontations, and one terrifying question that could change the entire series. Rip Wheeler throws one punch that says more than 1,000 words. Beth Dutton discovers something that could destroy an entire family. Masked gunmen surround the ranch in the dead of night. Oriana screams in horror. And somewhere in the shadows, Mariano Reyes is finally coming. But here's the most important part. The trailer doesn't just tease another exciting episode. It hints that everything we've watched over the past 8 episodes has been leading to one explosive night. So today, we're breaking down every major scene from the Episode 9 trailer, uncovering the hidden clues, explaining what they really mean, and predicting how the season finale could unfold. Let's get started. Before we dive into the trailer itself, let's quickly revisit where the story left us. Episode 8 completely changed the direction of the series. At first, Beth and Rip believed they were simply helping another struggling ranch survive, but little by little, the truth began to surface. Austin finally confessed that the Jackson family's business wasn't just about cattle. Animals had been moving across the Mexican border illegally. That revelation alone was enough to put everyone in danger. But the Episode 9 trailer suggests that wasn't even the full story. Meanwhile, Carter made one of the hardest decisions of the season. Feeling unwanted and believing he was becoming a burden, he left the ranch behind. For Beth and Rip, it was heartbreaking. Neither of them wanted to let him go, yet they understood that forcing him to stay would only push him further away. His absence becomes surprisingly important when we watch the finale trailer, because Carter is nowhere to be seen during the chaos. Could that absence actually save his life? We'll come back to that later. Over at 10 Petal Ranch, Beulah Jackson was dealing with problems of her own. Recovering from a heart attack should have been her biggest concern. Instead, she found herself surrounded by betrayal. Her decision to name Rob Will as her successor instead of Joaquin divided the family even further. Joaquin clearly wasn't ready to accept losing everything. After failing to have Rob Will arrested for Wes Ayer's murder, he made a phone call that may become the turning point of the entire season. He called Mariano Reyes. Until now, Mariano has existed mostly as a name, a mysterious figure everyone seems to fear, someone powerful enough that even the Jackson family thinks twice before crossing him. The trailer strongly suggests that changes in Episode 9, and when Mariano arrives, everything changes. Now let's talk about the very first scene in the trailer. Rob Will drives toward 10 Petal Ranch looking furious. He's not arriving peacefully. He's coming to confront someone, most likely Rip. The editing cuts quickly, but one thing becomes obvious. Whatever conversation begins here doesn't stay a conversation for very long. Seconds later, Rip lands a devastating punch. Rob Will crashes to the ground. Blood runs down the side of his face. Rip plants his boot firmly on Rob Will's chest, completely controlling the situation. Then comes the line that instantly changed fan theories across the internet. Rip looks directly at Rob Will and asks, "You running drugs?" For a few seconds, the trailer lets that question hang in the air. Because if Rip is asking it, he already suspects the answer. And Rob Will's response makes things even worse. Instead of denying it, instead of acting confused, he says, "I'd rather die than tell you." Think about that. If someone is innocent, they deny the accusation. Rob Will doesn't. He practically confirms there's something much bigger happening behind the scenes. That's why this simple exchange may be the biggest clue in the entire trailer. Until now, we've believed the Jackson operation centered around stolen cattle. But what if the cattle were never the main business? What if they were simply the perfect cover? Large trucks move across the border every day. Animals are transported regularly. Few people ask questions. It's the perfect way to hide something much more valuable, something much more dangerous. Drugs. If that's true, then the story instantly becomes much bigger than a family dispute over ranch land. Now we're talking about organized crime, international smuggling, and powerful people with unlimited resources. No wonder Mariano is suddenly involved. The next shot introduces another fascinating mystery. Beth is holding what appears to be an old tally book. At first glance, it looks ordinary, but appearances can be deceiving. Throughout television history, some of the most dangerous weapons haven't been guns. They've been documents, ledgers, records, pieces of paper that expose the truth. The trailer never explains where Beth found this book. Maybe she discovered it inside Rob Will's truck. Maybe Rip recovered it earlier. Or maybe someone secretly handed it over. Whatever happened, Beth studies every page carefully. Then she looks directly at Rob Will and quietly says, "You're already a damn man." Notice something interesting. She doesn't threaten to kill him. She simply states a fact. That subtle difference completely changes the meaning of the scene. Beth sounds like someone who's already seen enough evidence to know Rob Will's fate has been sealed. And if that tally book contains shipment records, payment histories, or coded transactions, then Rob Will may have lost long before this confrontation even began, because evidence can destroy an empire faster than bullets ever could.
But if Beth now possesses proof of everything, that also makes her the most dangerous person in the trailer, and everyone involved in this operation will know it, which means Beth may have just painted the biggest target on her own back. And that's where the trailer becomes even more terrifying, because just as Beth uncovers the truth, a new enemy is preparing to arrive, Mariano Reyes. And unlike Rob Will, Mariano doesn't look like the kind of man who asks permission before solving a problem. But what happens when Mariano finally reaches Dutton Ranch? That's exactly where the trailer raises the stakes, and that's what we'll break down next.
Just when it seems like Rip and Beth have finally cornered Rob well, the trailer introduces a much bigger threat. His name is Mariano Reyes. For most of Season 1, Mariano has been little more than a mysterious name whispered by the Jackson family. We never saw him, we only heard about his influence. But sometimes the most dangerous people are the ones who stay in the shadows. Now, those shadows are disappearing. One of the trailer's most striking moments shows Mariano arriving with complete confidence. There's no panic in his face, no hesitation. He carries himself like someone who has spent years giving orders, not taking them. And the first thing he tells Beulah sends a chill down your spine. You'll send your strangers packing, or I will. At first, it sounds like a warning, but if you listen closely, it feels much more like an ultimatum. Those strangers are almost certainly Beth and Rip. From Mariano's point of view, they aren't ranchers trying to help. They're outsiders asking dangerous questions and getting far too close to secrets that should have stayed buried. But here's the question almost everyone is asking. Why does Mariano arrive now? The answer may lie in the closing moments of Episode 8. After failing to bring Rob Will down through the law, Joaquin picked up the phone and called his father. That call may have been more important than it first appeared. Did Joaquin ask Mariano for protection? Did he ask for revenge? Or did he simply tell him that Beth and Rip were uncovering too much? Whatever was said during that conversation, the trailer makes one thing clear. Mariano didn't waste any time responding. And when someone like Mariano decides to get personally involved, you know the situation has already gone beyond anyone's control. Then the trailer shifts to another emotionally charged moment. Beulah sits down with Beth and Rip. For perhaps the first time all season, the confident ranch owner doesn't seem to have all the answers. She looks exhausted, she looks scared, and perhaps most importantly, she looks guilty. Then she quietly says, "You were in a hole, and so was I." It's only one sentence, but it may explain everything. What if Beulah never wanted to work with criminals? What if she was forced into it? Running a ranch has never been easy. Falling cattle prices, debt, competition, and constant financial pressure have destroyed countless ranching families. Maybe Beulah reached a point where she had no good options left. Maybe Mariano offered a solution. Money, protection, a way to save the ranch. But every deal comes with a price, and sometimes that price becomes impossible to escape. The trailer never confirms exactly how Beulah became involved, but her expression tells us something important. She doesn't look like someone proud of her decisions. She looks like someone haunted by them. At the same time, Beth isn't easily convinced. Another shot from the trailer shows Beth aiming a rifle directly at Beulah. That image raises several possibilities. Perhaps Beulah has been hiding information. Perhaps Beth believes she's still protecting Rob Will. Or perhaps Beth simply doesn't know who she can trust anymore. Remember, Beth came to Ten Petal hoping for a fresh start after everything the Dutton family lost. Instead, she may have walked straight into another nightmare, one built on lies, smuggling, and possibly something even worse. Beth has always believed one thing: family matters. But family should never become an excuse for criminal behavior. If she believes Beulah willingly protected a dangerous operation, that friendship may already be beyond saving. Meanwhile, another character could be heading toward the biggest emotional conflict of the finale, Everett McKinney. Throughout the season, Everett has stood beside Beulah through good times and bad. He's respected her, trusted her, and even hinted that he'd gladly ride into one last battle with her if necessary. But loyalty becomes difficult when the truth begins to surface. Imagine discovering that someone you've trusted for years has been hiding connections to illegal cattle smuggling. Imagine learning those secrets may have placed innocent people directly in danger. How would you respond?
The trailer doesn't answer that question, but it does show Everett arriving with a rifle later during the nighttime attack. That suggests whatever differences exist between him and Beth, Rip, or Beulah, they'll have to wait, because survival comes first. And then, the trailer completely changes its pace. Daylight disappears, darkness falls. Everything becomes quiet, almost too quiet. Rip steps outside and immediately senses something isn't right. Years of experience have taught him to trust his instincts. He scans the darkness, listening, watching, waiting. Then he says something that instantly raises the tension. They want us. There's no panic in his voice, just certainty. Beth doesn't hesitate for even a second. She answers, then they're gonna get us. That's classic Beth. She's never been the kind of person to run from danger. If trouble comes looking for her family, she'll face it head on. The next few seconds flash by almost too quickly to process. Masked figures move through the darkness. Vehicles approach the ranch. Weapons are loaded. Doors swing open. People begin taking defensive positions. It's clear this isn't just a random attack. Whoever these men are, they came prepared. The biggest question is, who sent them? The most obvious answer is Mariano. If Beth now possesses evidence that could expose an entire criminal network, eliminating that evidence suddenly becomes the top priority. And unfortunately for Beth and Rip, the easiest way to erase evidence is often to eliminate the people holding it. One detail hidden in these scenes deserves extra attention. Azul and Zach are also shown preparing to fight. This tells us something important. The battle won't be Rip against a handful of attackers. This is becoming a full-scale defense of the ranch. Everyone who understands what's at stake is picking up a weapon. Everyone knows there may not be another sunrise if they lose tonight. Even Everett arrives carrying a rifle, suggesting old disagreements are being pushed aside. Because when bullets start flying, personal conflicts don't matter anymore. Survival does. But perhaps the biggest mystery isn't who joins the fight. It's who doesn't. Carter never appears anywhere during these battle scenes. That could simply mean the trailer is hiding him. Or, his decision to leave the ranch in episode 8 may end up saving his life. Sometimes walking away from home isn't abandoning your family. Sometimes it's unknowingly escaping a tragedy. If that's true, Carter's heartbreaking goodbye may become one of the most important moments of the entire season. Because while everyone else prepares for war, he may be the only member of the family far enough away to survive whatever happens next. And if this attack is only the beginning, then the finale could be heading toward a heartbreaking conclusion that no one sees coming. Because one final clue in the trailer hints that someone very close to the Jackson family may not survive the night.
As the trailer reaches its final moments, the tension becomes almost unbearable. One scene that immediately grabs attention is Oriana Jackson screaming, "No!" Her reaction is filled with fear and heartbreak, suggesting that she's witnessing something devastating. The trailer doesn't reveal who she's looking at, but it strongly hints that someone important could be seriously injured, or even killed. The biggest possibility is Rob Will. Throughout the season, he's made one dangerous decision after another. He's been linked to Wes Ayers' murder, the stolen cattle operation, and now possibly an even larger criminal network. If everything Beth discovers in the Callie book points back to him, Rob Will could become a liability for everyone involved. Another possibility is Beulah. If she finally chooses to stand against Mariano or protect Beth and Rip, she could become a target herself. The trailer leaves that mystery unanswered, making Oriana's scream one of the biggest cliffhangers heading into the finale. Then there's the mysterious tally book. It may look like an ordinary ledger, but it could contain shipment records, payment details, or coded transactions that expose the entire operation. That's why Beth's line, "You're already a dead man," feels so powerful. She's no longer relying on suspicions. She believes she finally has proof. The trailer also shows the ranch preparing for an armed attack. Rip, Beth, Everett, Azul, and the others are all ready to defend their home. Whether the attackers are connected to Mariano or someone else, one thing is clear. This won't be a simple confrontation. It looks like the biggest action sequence of the season. Everything points toward one explosive night, where old alliances are tested, family loyalties are broken, and the truth finally comes to light. Based on everything shown in the trailer, Episode 9 isn't just about ending one story, it's about opening the door to an even bigger one. Beth and Rip appear closer than ever to exposing the truth behind the Jackson family's operation. If the tally book contains the evidence they need, Rob Will's future looks uncertain. Whether he survives or not, his secrets may finally be revealed. Beulah also seems to be at a crossroads. She may try to explain why she made the choices she did, that after everything that's happened, earning Beth's trust again won't be easy. The arrival of Mariano Reyes changes the scale of the story completely. Instead of dealing with one dangerous family, Beth and Rip may now be facing a much larger organization with connections far beyond Ten Petal Ranch. Even if they survive the finale, the battle may only be beginning. That also explains why the show has already been renewed for season 2. The finale can resolve some of the season's biggest mysteries, while still leaving room for Mariano to become the franchise's next major antagonist. No matter how episode 9 ends, one thing seems certain. The choices made during this final showdown will shape the future of Dutton Ranch and everyone connected to it. What do you think will happen in the finale? Will Beth and Rip expose the truth? Can Beulah redeem herself? And who do you think Oriana is crying for? Share your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next trailer breakdown and ending explained. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.